The story of the Underground Railroad is largely understood as a northern route for slaves to escape and find their freedom. But a largely untold story is about the paths to freedom through Texas into Mexico. A new exhibit in the Briscoe Center at UT Austin is shedding light on the ways enslaved people found freedom and how one family in Central Texas played a key role. Our Monica Madden visited this gallery.
Preserved papers.
This is the free papers of Susan Ann White from Warren County in Mississippi. This is 1837.
Tell the story of real people and what it took to be a free person of color before the Emancipation Proclamation.
This provides us with real primary source evidence of the experience that people went through trying to gain their freedom and trying to exist in a world where they were born without human rights.
Many of them also took a path south, a lesser-known story from the era.
People who lived in Texas who were enslaved, people who lived in Louisiana who were enslaved, would have found it much more practical to go down to the Rio Grande, where just south of the Rio Grande, Mexico had already abolished slavery. Mexico did by 1829.
Slaves could also buy their freedom, but at a high cost.
The cost to free Anne Maria was $1,000 at the time, which is about $31,000 today.
They needed allies to obtain a deal, with land or possessions often on the line.
So this exhibit consists mostly of court documents. These documents give us a picture of the legal world that they inhabited and sometimes navigated, the long process that could take in order to obtain freedom legally.
One story is that of Sylvia Hector Weber.
This is the Freedom Papers for Sylvia Hector Weber.
Weber, whose East Austin land is now Weberville, is the center of the display's message.
The Weber story is also a fantastic story.
She came to Texas with her enslaver and later met John Weber. He would buy a large plot of land and later fall in love with Sylvia. In 1834, he bought her freedom.
The couple were given several months to quote-unquote pay using the lives of 2 children in exchange for Sylvia and her children's freedom. And the document that we have on display explains that. We know from other research that this was not paid. The Webers ended up losing their land. John Weber put up his property as collateral for Sylvia and their 2 children.
The Weber family then moved to South Texas, where they became an outpost for the Southern Underground Railroad.
Sylvia's house served as a welcoming refuge for people seeking their freedom, and she was known as a generous hostess and a real comfort for people who sought her help.
Documents from a painful era of American history teach lessons of life, liberty, and the pursuit of hope.
Historians say after the Civil War ended, many of the documents kept by the Confederacy were burned, leaving many details of Sylvia's story unknown. The Briscoe Center is free to the public on weekdays, and the Freedom Papers exhibit will be open until the end of June.